I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Sincerely yours, The Breakfast Club.
Can't stand tonight. Who do you love? Ow, ow. No, sit.
Hello, and welcome back to John Hughes Revisited. With the holidays approaching fast, we thought it was a good time to dust off this Christmas classic. That's right, Home Alone, the king of the Christmas movie. The idea for this film occurred during the making of Uncle Buck.
Who are you?
I'm your Uncle Buck!
While John Hughes directed Macaulay Culkin on that production. There's a scene in that film where Culkin's precocious character interrogates a would-be sitter through the mail slot in the front door. So Hughes wondered, could he make a film starring a 10-year-old?
Hello.
While preparing to go on vacation, Hughes formulated the story for Home Alone. Like most of Hughes' ideas, Home Alone sprang from a minor domestic problem. He said, I was going away on vacation and making a list of everything I didn't want to forget. I thought, well, I better not forget my kids. Then I thought, what if I left my 10-year-old son at home? What would he do? Hughes wrote up 8 pages of notes that became the genesis of the Home Alone screenplay. He developed an idea about a boy who's left home alone after his family accidentally leaves him behind on their Christmas vacation to Paris. Then, using that same technique, imagining what a real kid was most scared of, robbers of course, Hughes factored this aspect into the plot. At first, Hughes asked Patrick Reed Johnson to direct, but he was too busy helming Space Invaders. He then turned to Chris Columbus, who had left production before cameras rolled on National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation due to a clash with star Chevy Chase.
I was a green director. He had no confidence in me. He didn't want to hear my ideas. He didn't want to talk to me. It was a horrible experience, and I had to get out of it.
Hughes felt so bad about the way things turned out, he offered Columbus the chance to direct either Home Alone or Reach the Rock. Columbus wisely chose to make Home Alone, as he found it funnier and liked the Christmas theme. His biggest fear as a kid was also burglars, which was a major part of why he wanted to make the movie. Hughes was so worried that mothers would never be able to believe a family could forget one of their own kids, he really accounted for every possible hole in logic.
The cars are still here. They didn't go to the airport.
For instance, in the first act, you can see when Mr. McAllister cleans up the mess in the kitchen, he even throws out a wad of napkins along with a single plane ticket by mistake. That ticket was none other than Kevin's, with his name written in black marker on it. The film's setup subtly gives great reasons for how Kevin gets left behind. The ticket mistakenly being thrown out, the power outage, sleeping in the attic alone, the neighbor kid taking his place during the head count, and the kid sitting in a different part of the plane. Columbus himself did an uncredited rewrite of the script, which added the character of Old Man Marley. He included the character to give the story a stronger dose of sentimentality, as well as a more emotionally satisfying ending. In hindsight, it's easy to see how critical that Old Man Marley is to Kevin's character development. They both share a similar arc, with Old Man Marley acting as a sort of ghost of Christmas future for Kevin, demonstrating how arguments with family lead to estrangement and eventually isolation. Kevin's predicament is brought on by fighting with his family and wishing he didn't have one.
I made my family disappear.
By the end of the movie, Kevin learns the importance of one's family as he reunites with his own and spots Old Man Marley reconciling with his on Christmas morning. It's a really beautiful moment, even if it's one that's fleeting as Kevin's entire family leaves him alone again, only moments later. Now, before we continue further, we'd like to thank you for watching John Hughes Revisited. If you enjoy our shows, like this video, please subscribe to our channel right now, and click on the bell so you can be notified each time a new video goes live. Now back to the show, you filthy animals. Due to his experience working with Macaulay Culkin on Uncle Buck, Hughes strongly suggested to Columbus that they cast the child actor in the lead role.
I'm a kid, that's my job.
Although the role of Kevin was specifically written for Culkin, Columbus met with over 100 other actors for the part, as he felt it was his directorial responsibility. Finally, once Columbus met with Culkin, he agreed that he was the right choice. Columbus knew the cameras would love him, and to top it off, Culkin was immensely funny. Clearly, as he even improvised the line,
You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
Culkin also drew the map himself that his character uses to set up the traps. Funny enough, John Mulaney was asked to audition for the role of Kevin, but his parents declined the offer. The nosy neighbor kid, played by Jeffrey Wiseman, also auditioned for the role of Kevin. Both Robert De Niro and Jon Lovitz turned down the role of Harry before Joe Pesci accepted it. Pesci thought it was a great script and gave him a chance to act alongside children for a younger audience. For the role of Harry's dim-witted partner, Daniel Stern was cast as Marv, after Michael Richards and Christopher Lloyd passed on the role due to their busy schedules. Right before shooting started, however, he was told that the production schedule had been extended from 6 weeks to 8. Stern dropped out after he learned he would not be paid more for the extended schedule.
Ow!
Actor Daniel Roebuck was hired to replace him, but after only 2 days of rehearsal, Columbus felt he was lacking chemistry with Pesci and brought back Stern. Catherine O'Hara and John Hurd were cast as Kevin's mom and dad. In the novelization of the film, it's revealed that Kevin's mom is a fashion designer, which explains why there's mannequins all over the house along with sewing machines. In 2014, O'Hara revealed that Culkin still calls her mom. Aw, that's cute. John Candy's role as a polka player is partly inspired by his character from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, as well as a reference to a skit he did for Second City TV with Eugene Levy. Catherine O'Hara also co-starred with them in the mockumentary film The Last Polka, as she was also a member of Second City TV. Candy was available for only 1 day to shoot his scenes, and the filmmakers took full advantage of the opportunity. Candy's scenes took a staggering 23 hours to shoot. It also happened to be one of the few days that Hughes was also on set to encourage Columbus to let Candy go off script. All of his dialogue was improvised. Robert's Blossom plays Old Man Marley, a kindly man who is rumored to be a serial killer. Interestingly enough, before playing this part, Blossom actually played the role of a serial killer in Deranged Confessions of a Necrophile. Blossom considered this movie one of the high points in his career after its release, with so many children recognizing him from the role. For the role of Uncle Frank, it was originally written for Kelsey Grammer, but when he proved unavailable, the part was given to Jerry Bauman, who nailed the mooch of an uncle.
Fill it up, fill it up. Fill it up, please.
The boy who plays Kevin's cousin Fuller is actually Macaulay Culkin's brother Kieran. You may recognize him from some of his other roles in Scott Pilgrim,
Is Scott here?
You know what? He just left.
Fargo Season 2, and Succession. Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern were in 1982's I'm Dancing as Fast as I Can, so they were already friends when cast alongside each other again in Home Alone. This kind of explains why Roebuck and Pesci just didn't click. They didn't have the history together that makes the partners in crime feel so lived in, as if they were pulling jobs together for years.
Cool boys up.
Stern said he and Pesci always intended for Harry and Marv to be a classic comic duo,
All the great ones leave their mark. We're the wet bandits.
as they went well over the top in their slapstick portrayal of the film's villains.
Damn, how low can you get giving Kris Kringle a parking ticket on Christmas Eve? What's next, rabies shots for the Easter Bunny?
Originally, Warner Brothers intended to finance and distribute the film, but shut down production after it exceeded its budget. Hughes had promised that he could make the film for less than $10 million, which was significantly less than most feature films at that time. However, Hughes was concerned that the film might exceed their budget, so he held secret meetings with 20th Century Fox to see if they were interested in the project. According to executive producer Scott Rosenfeld, a copy of the script was clandestinely delivered to Fox, bypassing the legal restrictions that would have otherwise prevented Fox from seeing it until the project was in turnaround. Early in production, the budget grew to over $14.5 million, and Warner Brothers demanded it be cut. The producers responded with a memo arguing that the budget could not be slashed any further. Unconvinced, Warner Brothers shut down production the very next day, but it quickly resumed when Fox picked up where Warner Brothers left off by assuming production responsibilities. Principal photography took place between February and May 1990 on location across Illinois over 83 days. The house exterior scenes were filmed on location at a 3-story single-family house in the area where Hughes also shot multiple films like The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and 16 Candles. The only interiors of the house that were used for filming were the main staircase, basement, attic, and most of the first floor landing, while all the other interiors of the house were duplicated on a soundstage to allow more room for crew and equipment. Similar to 16 Candles' bedroom set, the recreated rooms along with the police station offices were built in the gym of a local high school. Even the scene where Kevin runs through the water-filled basement, that was filmed in the school's empty swimming pool. The treehouse in the backyard was built specifically for the shoot and was dismantled after filming concluded. For the old-fashioned gangster film that Kevin watches, Angels with Filthy Souls, the title of which parodies the 1938 crime film Angels with Dirty Faces, shooting only lasted 1 day, on the final test day prior to the official start of principal photography. To create the illusion that the movie was an authentic 1940s gangster film, the scene was shot on black and white negative film, and Johnny's offices featured props from that era. Ralph Foodie and Michael Guido were originally cast in the opposite roles of Snakes and Johnny respectively, but Foodie was recovering from knee surgery at the time of the shoot and was unable to perform the fall to the floor, so they swapped roles. Guido often joked that this swap meant he was one of the few actors who was unable to return for the sequel due to his character being, well, dead. Cinematographer Julio Mercat used A Christmas Story as a reference point for the look of this movie. In order to produce a stronger Christmas feel, the colors red and green are major motifs throughout the film, appearing quite conspicuously in almost every scene. This includes furniture, clothing, carpets, tiles, wallpaper, you name it. Mercat also recalled that Pesci was more difficult to work with than Culkin. The future Oscar winner believed that some of the dialogue was not up to snuff with his acting ability. And Pesci also struggled to act in a family film.
You know, you could get locked up for
which prevented him from using his trademark cussing style. Pesci's strategy to use cartoon cursing or menacing gibberish
What? What?
produced comparisons to Looney Tunes character Yosemite Sam, which was intentional on Pesci's part. In fact, him and Stern looked to Wile E. Coyote's slapstick relationship with the Roadrunner for inspiration as well. It was a smart call, as the third act is a straight-up cartoon, with Kevin playing Bugs Bunny.
Hey guys, check this out.
Pesci also resented the early call times, since they prevented him from starting his day with 9 holes of golf. After he took the assistant director by the collar one day to complain about this, daily call times were moved back from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pesci and Stern both felt indifferent about the film's potential during shooting, so they intentionally gave over-the-top performances, with neither of them believing this movie would become a box office behemoth. On the other end of the spectrum, the crew had limited time to film the numerous nighttime scenes, since Culkin could not work any later than 10 p.m. due to his age. Darn those pesky child labor laws. The crew was super protective of Culkin while shooting, even during the shot of Kevin jumping on the bed. Several crew members are lying on the floor on both sides just in case Macaulay fell, but nothing would prepare them for the film's brutal stunts, which also created tension for the crew.
Every time one of those very difficult stunts was done, we all looked away from the monitors. I would yell, "Cut," and I'd say, "Is he okay?"
Stunts were originally prepped with safety harnesses, but because of their visibility on camera, the film's final stunts were performed without them. Stuntmen Troy Brown and Leon Delaney doubled for Pesci and Stern respectively. An injury occurred between Pesci and Culkin during one of the rehearsals for the scene in which Harry tries to bite off Kevin's finger.
And I have a little Joe Pesci tooth mark scar right here on my finger.
Seriously gruesome, but that's just one of the reasons why Home Alone kicks ass. And one of the most difficult sequences to film? Nope, it wasn't one of Kevin's booby traps. It was the McAllister's family run through the O'Hare International Airport to catch their flight. While the scene does not run long in the final film, it required several days to film. There were thousands of extras, all expertly choreographed so none of them would be in danger at running full speed through the American Airlines terminal. And they ran at full speed. And during the tarantula scene, many people, including myself, thought that the scream was added in post, as to not scare the poor spider. Stern confirmed that the scream was filmed live on set after he was assured by the animal handlers that tarantulas do not have ears.
That's when I let out a scream that I think I copied from Psycho.
For the film's score, Columbus initially hoped to have Bruce Broughton, the composer of Young Sherlock Holmes, which Columbus wrote. However, when Broughton proved to be too busy with the rescuers down under, he had to cancel at the last minute. It all worked out in the end though, as Columbus later got in contact with none other than Steven Spielberg, who helped put him in touch with John Williams to compose the final score. The filmmakers never thought Williams would go for it, but he saw an early cut of the movie and was enchanted.
So I was delighted to be asked to do the film.
There's also a bunch of scenes left on the cutting room floor.
You know what they're gonna call you in France, don't you, huh?
No.
Yank!
The trailer featured deleted and alternate scenes as well.
Police in the northern suburbs are on the lookout for a pair of burglars who are calling themselves the Wet Bandits.
The manager asked Kevin the questions instead of the cashier.
Where do you live?
Can't tell you that.
Why not?
Because you're a stranger.
There's also a deleted scene of Harry and Marv singing their own demented version of Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
Harry
And Marv
are coming to town.
Another sequence that was cut down was when the family are in Paris. Uncle Frank serves shrimp to the children, calls Fuller a punk.
Hey, you, punk.
And Kevin's sister Megan confronts Buzz about his callousness. Also, when the McAllisters are running through the Paris airport towards the arrival section, Uncle Rob and his family can be briefly glimpsed on the other side of the glass doors holding a large paper welcome sign. This was actually supposed to be part of a larger sequence, with the McAllisters ignoring the sign and tearing it in half by running right through it, but it was cut from the movie. Additionally, Chris Columbus had storyboarded a few scenes in which Kevin would have dreams where the house comes to life. One included the evil furnace in the basement, another scene involved several toy nutcrackers that come to life. But the sequences were deemed too expensive on such a tight budget, and the ideas were either dropped or reworked. The initial evil furnace sequence was estimated to cost over $1 million to film, but the final version was accomplished by 2 crew members with nothing more than fishing line and flashlights. Some real old school filmmaking right there. Sometimes, the most magical moments are the unplanned ones. Like the car stalling on Santa was for real, and the actor's reaction was genuine. While the majority of snow on the production was fake, there was one scene in particular that they knew that they required the real thing. So the crew prepped for when a snowy day came to set up at the McAllister household for that snowy Christmas morning. And on the very second day of filming, they got their money shot. They also used mashed potato flakes for the snow blowing in front of the window, but it didn't take very long for the snow to melt and the potato flakes to rot, causing less than pleasant odor. And of course, Kevin's face, once he puts on the aftershave, was improvised by Culkin, as he forgot to pull his hands away as he screamed. Columbus loved it, as it was such a little kid thing to do. It was instantly iconic, even being the key art for the film's marketing.
Buzz, I'm going through all your private stuff. You better come out and pound me.
Home Alone premiered in Chicago, naturally, on November 10th, 1990, and was domestically released on November 16th, 1990. It was the #1 film at the box office for 12 consecutive weeks. That simply does not happen anymore. By the end of its theatrical run, the film grossed almost $500 million worldwide against a production budget of $18 million. It was the highest grossing live-action comedy all the way until 2011 with the release of The Hangover Part 2. Culkin turned into one of the biggest stars of all time overnight, even receiving a Golden Globe nomination for his performance. Upon initial release, it was an immediate success with glowing reviews from both charmed audiences and critics, with praise for its cast, humor, and music. Seriously, my man John Williams did not have to go this hard. Both Williams' score and the song Somewhere in My Memory were nominated for Academy Awards, and it wasn't long until Time magazine deemed it the undisputed conqueror of the Christmas movie season that year. However, there were some notable standouts, with film critics Siskel and Ebert giving Home Alone 2 thumbs down.
Writer-producer John Hughes and his director Chris Columbus have made a sort of a preteen Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and the formula is wearing thin on me.
These booby traps are nothing that any 8-year-old kid couldn't make if he had hundreds of thousands of dollars and the special effects department of a movie working for him. Right. It's totally unrealistic.
Guys, it's literally some paint cans tied to rope. Fox released Home Alone on VHS and Laserdisc, and it was notable for being their first title to hit home video rather than go to the video rental market first. The film sold 11 million copies, generating revenue of $150 million, making it the highest-selling video of all time at that point. Well, alongside E.T. the Extraterrestrial and Star Wars. Last year, the film was released yet again in 4K, just in time for its 30th anniversary. Alright, so let's get into the sequels. The film launched a franchise of varying quality. The second film, Home Alone 2: Lost in New York, was released in 1992 and brought back the main cast along with some new faces. It might even be the funnier of the two. And it has Tim Curry. Even Angels with Filthy Souls gets a sequel. Angels with Even Filthier Souls. but it also lacks that homespun charm that the first film had, as well as containing maybe one too many coincidences. A third film followed, Home Alone 3, released in 1997 and was the directorial debut of Raja Gosnell, who edited both previous films in the franchise. While John Hughes was involved, the film was cast with completely different actors to play the new characters, and the storyline was certainly not as grounded as the original. It was also one of the earliest films to feature Scarlett Johansson. A fourth made-for-TV film followed in 2002, Home Alone 4, Taking Back the House. This time, the film brought back some familiar characters such as Kevin, his parents, and Marv, but with a new cast and new storyline. Marv returns, played by French Stewart, but Harry is replaced by Missy Pyle. This might be the worst of the bunch. In 2012, a fifth film, The Holiday Heist, premiered during ABC Family's Countdown to 25 Days of Christmas event. Similar to the third film, it does not center on the McAllister family. Honestly, I don't have much to say about this one since it's the only film in the franchise I haven't seen, for better or worse. But hey, Malcolm McDowell's in it, so there's that. And now we come to present day, Home Sweet Home Alone. Look, Chris Columbus said it best. Disney is wasting their time trying to recreate the magic that was the original Home Alone. And I loved Archie Yates and Jojo Rabbit, but he doesn't quite work for me here. He's too mean-spirited, and I ended up liking the robbers more than I liked him. And also, I love Pete Holmes. I'm still waiting on a Crashing movie, but he really doesn't work in the Uncle Frank role for me. It'd be like having John Candy play Uncle Frank in the original. There's a reason he's Uncle Buck. At least fans of Buzz will rejoice to see him return as an ineffectual security guard, which is funny when you consider that the actor, Devin Rattray, was asked what he thought happened to Buzz later in life. He said the character probably went to prison. Oh, and there's also a wild 1989 French horror thriller film called 3615 Code Père Noël, which has been noted for its plot similarities to Home Alone. Directed by René Manzer, the film is about a young boy who is home alone with his elderly grandfather and has to fend off a home invader dressed up as Santa Claus. Manzer threatened the producers of Home Alone with legal action on the grounds of plagiarism. It should be noted, however, that the French film was not released in the US during its original theatrical run in 1990 and didn't even become widely available there until 2018. Lastly, Daniel Stern's 1995 film, Bushwhacked, was originally conceived as a Home Alone spin-off starring a reformed Marv. Not sure why, but that ultimately didn't pan out. The film has been spoofed, parodied, and paid homage to countless times. Hell, even Snoop Dogg gets in the Home Alone fun for his 1994 song, Gin and Juice. That music video opens with a gag that imitates Kevin's hands on his face. In December 2015, Culkin actually reprised his role as an adult Kevin McAllister in the pilot episode of a web series called Drivers. In the episode, a visibly disturbed, long-haired, foul-mouthed Kevin works as an Uber driver and recounts his experience of being left home alone by his family.
It's Christmas time. It's Christmas. And your whole family, right, goes on vacation. Whole family. And they forget their 8-year-old son. Their 8-year-old son. All by yourself in the house for a week.
At one point, a carjacker tries to steal his car, with Kevin reacting by tying him up and torturing him. The episode even ends like this. Oh, whew, brutal. In response to Culkin's video, Daniel Stern appeared in his own short video reprising the role of Marv.
Come find me, Harry, I'm scared! The kid is back!
In 2018, Culkin once again reprised his role as an adult Kevin McAllister in a 60-second ad for Google Assistant. That commercial contains shot-for-shot remakes of scenes from the film, and Joe Pesci actually reprised his role as Harry, only for his voice making a small cameo.
Better get out of here before somebody sees us.
Pesci later appeared in another ad where he watches the short with friends and jokes about his brief cameo.
Okay, here's my big part. Watch.
Better get out of here before somebody sees us.
That's probably the best we're gonna get from Mr. Pesci regarding that role.
I nailed it. I did. I nailed it.
Also, Columbus revealed that there have been discussions on a sequel starring Kevin's son, with Pesci and Stern's wet bandits, or sticky bandits, still obsessed with exacting revenge on Kevin. But Macaulay Culkin jokingly said he would return to the franchise only if they set it in the woods, a la Rambo. I got news for you, buddy. They already did that movie. It's called Becky. The success of the original film led to 4 sequels, video games, board games, a novelization, the popular Talkboy,
and A Partridge in a Pear Tree.
For my money, Home Alone is one of the best Christmas films. It redefined Christmas movies, and no holiday movie marathon is complete without watching it. And John Hughes was no slouch in the holiday department. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Christmas Vacation, Miracle on 34th Street, to name a few. But Home Alone captures the chaos of Christmas in a way that no other film has come close to. Columbus nails the childlike sense of wonder and imagination, even when it gets the better of us.
It's only my imagination. Only my imagination.
It's easy to see why he was chosen to launch the Harry Potter franchise. Today, Home Alone is regarded as the Christmas classic, with many fans praising its memorable quotes, morals, traps, and main character. Home Alone is beloved all over the world by audiences.
Hola!
The McAllister home itself has become a major tourist attraction. The homeowners even had to put up a fence to deter overly eager tourists. Hey, I get it. Recently, Airbnb announced that some lucky fans could book a one-night-only stay at the McAllister house, complete with booby traps. They would also get a close encounter with a tarantula and receive a viewing of the film franchise's newest holiday adventure, Home Sweet Home Alone. Hughes and the crew accomplished what they set out to do in the first place, create a timeless Christmas classic. And even though many will try to recapture that lightning in a bottle, Home Alone will always reign supreme.
Yes!
So for the holidays this year, I gift Home Alone 10 out of 10. And from all of us here at JoBlo, we wish you the happiest of holidays.
And a Happy New Year.